Hi, welcome to Vegan Kids with me, Kevin, and Freddy from Northeast Animal Rights. So, today we're going to be talking about being a vegan parent and having vegan kids. There's a couple of us in the group that have got vegan kids. We've got Laura, who's got Dylan, who's a toddler, who's been vegan from birth. I've got myself, who's got Freddy, who's 5. We've got little James, who's 2. They transitioned around about March last year. So our journey's been a little bit different to Laura's. And we're going to talk a little bit about our experiences as a vegan family and having vegan kids. So Freddy was 4 when he decided to go vegan last year in March. And he went vegan after asking his mum where milk comes from. So he explained that for us to have milk, a cow's got to have a baby. The baby's usually taken away so that we can have the milk. And he instantly decided that that was wrong, and then he didn't want it to be the reason that that was happening. So he made the decision from that to go vegan. Now that conversation led on to, what happens after the cow stops producing all that stuff in a very, very age-appropriate manner. So he understands how milk, dairy, eggs, meat, he knows where they all come from, what has to happen to have them. And he basically just decided that he didn't want to do that anymore. So I think the dairy thing hit home because my wife breastfeeds our youngest, and he straight away he just said that it would make you and James sad if somebody was to take James away from you. So I don't think it's right that Mummy has her baby cow taken away from her. And I think that just goes to show the instinct within children to choose compassion every single time. And we've always said that we wanted Freddy to make his own decisions growing up, same with James, but I think it's very important that he makes an informed choice. So just not telling him about it, I don't think is fair on him. So when he did ask about it, we told him, and he made the decision to go vegan. Since going vegan, he tells his friends how their food's made and what has to happen for them to consume it. He talks constantly about being a vegan, don't you? And he's constantly asking if things are vegan. If things aren't vegan, he doesn't mind not having them. Sometimes he wishes that things were vegan, like Kit Kats, for example, you miss, don't you? But for the majority of it, we've got vegan alternatives. So, can you still have ice cream?
Yeah.
Can you still eat burgers?
Yeah.
Can you still eat sausages?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cakes?
Birthday cakes.
You can eat all kinds of cakes, don't you? Because we get the vegan ones, don't we? Yeah. So he misses out on absolutely nothing. A good example of him talking to his friends about his veganism is at school. His friend asked him if he'd like to swap. Freddy wanted to swap his vegan cheese sandwich for a ham sandwich that his friend had. And what did you tell?
That's my name.
It is your name. What did you tell your friend when he asked you if you wanted to swap sandwiches? Can you remember?
No.
When he had a ham sandwich, and you said, "I don't eat ham because it's got dead piggies in, and it's not nice to kill piggies to eat."
Yeah. Kai said that.
It was Kai, wasn't it? Yeah, at school. He's absolutely 100% vegan for animal rights, even though he doesn't really understand that.
Kai knows vegan and he doesn't eat vegan.
Yeah, I know he does, doesn't he? Because you told him.
No, he already knows vegan when I hadn't told him.
Did he?
Yeah.
At Christmas, Freddy thought that he actually was given a non-vegan Christmas lunch afterwards, and he got quite upset about that, which caused a bit of tension between us and my mum, who doesn't really understand that much, because she said that it was our fault that Freddy got so upset because he might have ate a couple of slices of meat. We did investigate. It turned out that he did have the correct lunch. It was just, I think it was corn that they'd used, and it was very lifelike, so Freddy just got, after eating it, got a little bit concerned that he might have had some real turkey. We've been quite lucky with Freddy's school, to be honest with you. When he first started school, we got emailed a menu, which we had a... Freddy, stop being silly, please. We had a full vegan option on there. We could choose what we wanted, and anything that wasn't vegan on there, they actually do a vegan alternative for. So, for example, they didn't have a vegan option on a day where there was cheese pizzas, and Freddy just has a vegan cheese pizza instead on that day, don't you? So there's never a day where he's eating anything completely different to his little friends, because they do a vegan alternative for whatever the non-vegan option is that they're cooking, which I think is really good. The catering staff are fantastic. They all treat Freddy's meals as if he's actually got allergies. So they treat him with the same care as if he's got allergies. So the idea is, with the mindset of thinking that Freddy's allergic to eggs, dairy and meat, so that it gets nowhere near it, and he's always given the correct option. It's actually brought out to him specifically as well. He is the first vegan child at the school though, so we do understand that there are going to be stumbling points. She's not, just doesn't drink milk. So we do understand there's going to be a learning curve on both parts. Going to be a little bit of give and take. We need to understand that mistakes might happen, and accept them and help the school learn from it if and when they do. Hopefully they won't, but if they do, then we will. An example would be they were doing baking at school, making some cakes, and they were doing counting things, and there was a picture go up of Freddy holding some eggs. We approached the school and said, you know, we don't want to normalise the idea of eggs in diet, because to us it's not a normal thing for us. I think they were a little confused to begin with, but after a little bit of conversation, they understood that the idea of, you know, giving a vegan child eggs to play with probably wasn't the best idea, and I think it was just a complete oversight. So we're both learning as we go on. On a Friday, James goes to a childminder, and we've been so lucky with our childminder. So to begin with, she was really overwhelmed with what veganism really was in a child at the age of 2, because let's face it, there's not many of them. But she did a lot of her own research, and she's found loads of things that, I mean, our freezer's fully stocked with vegan alternatives. She's always got the vegan cakes and stuff that the boys like to eat. She's even started subbing some of her family favourites to the vegan options. For example, like party sausage rolls. She just gets the vegan ones because they're about the same price. They don't taste any really different, and her kids love them as well. So that's a big win for me. We'll go question a lot on our kids being vegan, probably more so than we do on our own selves being vegan. People ask about veganism, but they don't ask why we're vegan so much. But they do ask why our kids are vegan. I think the common ones we get is where do they get the protein, which I think as a vegan it's something that everyone says. With children, it's always where do they get the calcium, they need more fat in the diet, can you get that from a vegan diet? What do they even eat? What can they even eat? What's the point is the one I've had quite a lot. Why are you forcing them to miss out on things? Is the one I get quite a lot. And the good old, why don't you just let them make their decision when they're older? And another one that we get a lot is when I tell people that Freddy knows where meat comes from and how things are made, they're a little bit taken aback by the fact that I would tell a 5-year-old that an animal has to die for him to eat it, and that cows die when they don't produce milk, chickens die when they don't produce eggs, and that it's not very nice the places that they stay, and they just can't get their head around that. Usually deal with these kinds of questions by a little bit of education and countering claims as well. So for example, when someone says it's wrong to inform your children about, you know, animal agriculture and where their food comes from, I ask them how they would feel if they one day woke up and realised that their parents had lied to them their entire life, kind of the awakening, if you will, that you get when you're vegan. And I always give them the Earthling Ed analogy of give a child a strawberry and a rabbit to play with. Which one would they eat? Which one would they cuddle? And if they decided to eat the rabbit and cuddle the strawberry, how would that actually make us feel? It makes them realise that actually there's a natural thing around compassion in children. I spin it back around because a lot of the time it goes on nutrition, calcium, protein, etc., etc. and I ask them how they know that their children get everything they need from their diet, because most kids don't have the best diet in the world, and if you don't know how your child's getting their own nutrition, you're just assuming that they do, then why are you asking about mine? We just had a comment there actually that says, I was told it was child abuse that my children hadn't visited KFC from Melanie. I think that's a good one. Actually, Freddy's favourite food now is a vegan KFC chicken burger. We'll go for a treat every now and then, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loves it. So,
Yes.
hey, you can't even get accused of not letting your child eat KFC anymore. What a world we live in now. We haven't really been at many gatherings as a vegan family. We've been to a couple. Obviously, with lockdown and stuff, we've been very, very restricted as to what we can and can't do. But the ones we have been to, we've always catered for our kids, knowing that people might not know what they can eat, or just might not cater really for them. So we always make sure they've got something that they can have that's going to be similar to what the other people are having, so they don't feel left out. And another one just on, I suppose, nutrition, because I'm not a nutritionist, I don't claim to be. But in 2016, the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics published a position on plant-based eating and stated that it was healthy for all forms of life, including pregnancy, infancy, older life, etc., etc. It means people are commenting, people are liking things. So yeah, I mean the main ones we get about is about calcium in milk. People just assume that you get your calcium from milk, when obviously we know that that's wrong. For example, we usually get Oatly Barista simply because it's nutritional wise the important bits. It's as close to whole milk as you can get. It's got a high fat content. It's got roughly the same amount of calcium as Tesco, at least, which is the one I researched. Whole milk. It's got less saturated fat. It's got less sugar, and obviously it's devoid of all of the hormones that are in milk. And the effects of diet change on the kids have been noticed. Freddy used to have asthma. Not bad, mild, but if you ran up the stairs he'd wheeze. And that's gone, absolutely gone, doesn't need an inhaler anymore. And James has eczema. In fact, Freddy used to have a little bit of eczema as well, but that's gone. Jim's eczema was not really bad, but it was bad enough to flake, and it has improved since going vegan. Still there a little bit, but it is improving. And as parents, we do talk openly with other parents about veganism, about our kids being vegan. You know, sometimes they ask about the benefits. Some people have noticed that Freddy doesn't have his inhaler anymore, like my mum, for example. Ask kind of why that is, and you know, it's got to be the vegan thing. It's an inflammatory disease at the end of the day, and a lot of what we eat with an omnivorous diet has inflammatory causing chemicals in there. So you remove them from your diet and these things improve. But yeah, I mean, they miss out on nothing.
I want a jammy day today.
You want a jammy day today? We're not missing out on a jammy day either, apparently. Yeah, they miss out on absolutely nothing apart from animal cruelty, to be fair. And that's about it, I think, Fred, isn't it? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Have you got anything you'd like to add? No. No.
I don't know.
No? That's fine. Yes, so I think we will be signing off. I've been Kev.
I think it does.
And this
I
is
think
Freddy
I do.
for North East Animal Rights.
I think I do.
Thank you for tuning in.
I think I do.